want to talk about your last fight with Merab. The previous camp, you was like, I didn't do any grappling. I'm like, you out of your mind, but now it makes sense because your labrum was torn and you weren't able to do any grappling.
Yeah, it's not ideal going in. It's not ideal going in there against Merab.
You jumped off social media. You don't smoke weed anymore. You don't drink alcohol. What came of that?
So I just felt like it was a little bit of a distraction. It was a little bit of like an anxiety creator. Dude, I would drive home, just be like, I'm like, what the f? I'm literally surfing Instagram while I'm driving.
What do you think about those matchups between ILIA TOPURIA versus Charles Oliveira, and then you got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev?
ILIA's, 5'5".
I don't know. You tell me. You said anybody under, who's not 5'11" is not a man.
I did not.
Each time you post those things, I'm in the shower. I'm like,
in the shower, looking at Twitter.
Oh, it's 15-time world champion Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MIGHTYCAST.
What's going on, boys? This episode of the MIGHTYCAST is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game we can play directly from your phone. It's very simple. All you got to do is go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTYCAST. Cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is play $5 in your lineup. They got mixed martial arts, they got NBA, they got NFL. It'll be back soon. Can't wait for NFL. All you gotta do is make your picks in all those sports, whatever sport you want to do, and you're gonna win $50 no matter what happens in that lineup. And make sure you guys look out for UFC 316 as Sugar Sean O'Malley takes on Merab the Machine. Can he get his belt back? We'll be doing our picks on final predictions. Just make sure you guys get your picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Now, shout out to PrizePicks for a sponsored episode of the MIGHTYCAST. Now, let us enjoy this chat with the sweet one, Sugar Sean O'Malley. What is going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYCAST, and I am here in Arizona at the Red Hawk Academy, joined by the former champion of the world, Sugar Sean O'Malley. My man, thanks for coming on the podcast. How you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for coming out. I know I'm glad because we did the podcast before over Zoom, but it's always just, they're just so much more smooth, better in person, and appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how far we go back. I never forget when we did the first when we first hung out during the Fortnite tournament.
Yeah, California, LA, right?
Yep, California, LA.
You bought me. I think I got a cheeseburger or some fries.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah.
Oh, and shout out to you for sending me that that retirement video. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
I was totally caught off guard.
Demetrious Johnson, DJ, Fortnite buddy, gamer buddy, congratulations on your retirement. You're an absolute legend, a stud.
Sometimes you never know who's, we've hung out before, but sometimes, you got big, you were top of the world driving Ferraris, big chains, you get the, the RM on your wrist. I don't know if you remember your boy, so I appreciate you sending that video. I appreciate that.
Dude, you're the GOAT. And dude, moving around with you today, it's like you're so fast and technical, and you're strong, and your technique's so good. It's like it makes sense to why you were so successful in your career. Just even moving around today with you a little bit, I was like, holy fuck, dude. Like, yeah.
Thanks, man.
That was fun.
Hey, you got me though. You got me twice with that nice old Darce. I loved it. I think it's when you hit me with that, I was like, okay, good. He's working on attacking.
Yeah.
Right? I always think it's good for people to attack all the time and force the attacks when somebody's trying to shoot in.
Yeah.
So I was happy you got me with that. And
if you're not, you're getting attacked.
Exactly.
You want to be attacking, or you're on the defense, and ideally you're not, defending too much.
Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful I got the opportunity to vibe out and move with you because, now that I do what I do now on the analyst and I'm talking about the void, I get to see like, wow, that's what makes you so damn special. You're granted we only worked one part of the game, but like your feints, that teep, oh my god, you hit me with that teep and I was like, okay, I can't allow that happen again.
Yeah. No, yeah. Why are you done? I mean, is there like you've probably talked about it before, but even just moving around with your, I'm like, bro, you could fucking compete at the highest level still, like easily.
Yeah, man. Honestly,
do you ask yourself like, why am I done, or do you know why?
I know why I was done because I just didn't enjoy it anymore.
The fight camps or
just the fight camps, and then getting ready for a fight, and then I felt like when I would focus on one person for 9 weeks, I felt like it stunted my growth as a martial artist because I'm just focusing on him the whole entire time. I can't, and then I fell in love with crossing the void, getting on people, and then now I get more enjoyment of coming out here and training with you, right? Like Imagine if I was in the UFC and I was in the bantamweight division, there'd be no way of opportunity for me and you to vibe out.
Yeah.
Because when I come here, you'll be like, I'm not gonna give you any inch. So now, like I said, I find more enjoyment. I'm out here training with you, no ego, just seeing how you move. Okay, I'm trying to sweep. Can I sweep? Okay, I come up. Oh, his guard's really good. He's flexible. That fills my cup way more than trying to be the best in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you already did it too. You've been the best. It's not like your legacy's cemented. So I guess I could see that, but I'm like, fuck, dude. You could still do the thing, but I mean, you live a sweet life now too. Your YouTube's fucking popping. You got a family. You're traveling. Like, what more could you ask for? I guess if everything's fulfilled, there's no, point to continue. Fighting, like you said, training camps are fucking brutal.
Oh yeah,
they're like, I mean, I'm glad I still enjoy them while I do, but when I get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to do a training camp, like that you can't not want to do a training camp and go through a successful training camp, because they are brutal.
Yeah, because it's like you said, it's a day and out grind. You're exhausted all the time, and then you're constantly focused on that one mission. I was okay, this is what this guy does. Okay, we got to make sure. It's stressful, and at one point in time, I did enjoy it. Yeah. But now, at the end of it, like, I'll never forget hitting the pad super hard, and I was like, I'm fucking done working hard. I am true. I don't want to do it anymore. And Matt said it too. He goes, you can still fight. I was doing jiu-jitsu, and I was just moving fast. And he looked at me. He was like, and I was like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. He was like, that horse still got some more, life in it. And I was like, nah, man, I think I'm done. And I think that's important, like, to go out when it's like, I'm done. You see a lot of guys like...
You and GSP are really the only ones that kind of fucking did it.
Like, I think Khabib did too, but
yeah,
Khabib,
I guess...
unfortunate situation for him when he retired. Yeah. But me, GSP, you see guys like, oh, I'm not going to let this sport retire, but it's like, you're 37. It's like, I lost this one. I never became champion. Yeah. I think it's my last one. So I felt for me, it was the perfect time to go out where it's like, there's nothing left to prove. Yeah. And I'm still healthy enough to be able to move.
That's nice.
Right? And move around with you. If I was fucking broken or whatever, and I come in and I'm like, man, I really want to work out with Sean, and I'm like, I can't keep
back hurts.
My back hurts. Yeah. So that was very important to me. So I'm grateful I went out when I did, and I'm still healthy enough to move around with you.
Dude, yeah. No, that's goals. Like, I want to be able to, get out. I feel like it's tricky, like, because if you still want to, like, you're not lucky, but you got to a point to where you didn't really want to, but some guys still want to, but they just can't. And that's when you see 4, 5, 6 fight losing streaks, and it's just sad because they just want to. Yep. But they're just, I mean, I guess is that, I don't know. It's hard to say.
But I feel like you're surrounded by great coaches, good people, right? You got people who've been with you since day one, right? I talked to Sono. I talked to, your producer for your YouTube channel, which you're killing it, by the way.
Appreciate it.
I think it's always important to be surrounded by people who want the best for you, right? Yeah. And I feel too, like, hey, man, like, we don't need to do this anymore. You got plenty of money in the bank. Let's just ride off on a sunset in your little pink Ferrari.
Do you think you having your YouTube channel makes it easier for you to not, like, because you put so much passion, so much effort into the YouTube, that it helped you be done with actually competing fight? Because you compete in the gi, you still train like a full mixed martial artist, but now you have like a passion to build your YouTube channel. Does that help?
Yeah, I think it does. I told myself, there was a point in time in my career when after I got that fight at Adrian, I was okay, I think I'm done. And I was like, but I want to make sure I'm not going to miss it. So I gave myself a full year of, I've always stayed busy with the kids, helping out with that. But I was like, I'm going to give a full year of trying to focus on the next transition after fighting. And I was like, if I put the same energy and thought process into whatever I do, I should be successful. Yeah. And so that's what I put all my heart and soul into the YouTube channel, and now it's paying off. Fuck yeah. We have the MIGHTYCAST, we have the instant reaction, we have the forward breakdown, we have stuff coming down the pipeline. And it has helped, but I still like to be able to move, hit pads. I fucking miss that. Yeah. Like, I miss that, but I don't miss like, all right, you signed a dotted line. Hey, Sean, how you doing? You're I don't fucking miss that, not one bit.
Yeah. And your protege, death sentence. That's good. Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
That guy's a character, bro. I want that confidence. I want that confidence.
That's what my wife says. She goes, he has like an amazing confidence that men who are, tall, gorgeous, or whatever, they don't even have a sliver of that. Of that. And she goes, I'm a fan. He won me over.
I want to see him on Love on the Spectrum.
Dude.
That would be sick.
That would be fucking amazing.
That would be sick.
Oh my God. Netflix. Yeah. Make it happen. Have you watched that show?
Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favorite shows.
Dude.
pretty much cry every episode. I'm
I
just
want to
like,
go on a T lie. She says she will come on a T, like the girl
Yeah.
who loves the T.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
the T train, Madison.
T train,
Or no,
yeah.
Perry.
Perry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
it.
that show. I've watched all of those. I fucking love that shit.
Yeah. But I would love to see him loving the spectrum. I
That
never
would
thought
be
about that.
Sweet. Maybe we'd make your own Mighty on the Spectrum.
You know,
And
these
got him-
motherfuckers that try to make me do that. They want to do a street beef, Ultimate Fighter. I was like, no.
yeah.
I think it'd be good with White Wolf, Static. You know, I think
There's
you need the
some-
right athletes
Yeah.
to make it good.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with YouTube is there's nonstop creative things that like there's something out there that no one's done yet.
Yep.
That could be, you know, like I don't know if you're a fan of Kill Tony.
Yeah, I love Kill Tony.
Dude, it's like he doing it so long ago, but it's like he created a live podcast where it's a minute, the interview, like there's stuff out there that's never been done that's just waiting to be created.
Mm-hmm.
Like that you just never know.
Yeah, Death on the Spectrum. I
Death
think
on
about
the
that.
Spectrum. There you
All
go.
that Michael and Nick said they wanted
Well,
to
I'm
do something
sure
like
their
that.
brains are rolled right now. Fucking-
I want to switch gears. I want to talk about your last fight with Merab. The biggest thing, what's your hip surgery, right? What did you get done to your hip? Because I heard from the boys, they said you had something with laryngeal labrum.
I tore my labrum
You
10
tore your
weeks
labrum
before the fight.
And then what did they do to your surgery? Because I have a torn labrum, but my doctor says don't get it done because it never be the same. You got it done. You're moving great,
Feels good.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, what do they do? They just go in there, clean it out, rivets. What do they do?
So in 2018, I tore my right labrum. And there's like most athletes have a partial tear in their labrum.
Yep.
Like if you MRI'd 100 athletes, 90% of probably have somewhat of a tear in the labrum. So
Yep.
it's not a required surgery. I felt mine 10 weeks before the fight. I felt something happen. I didn't really know what happened. I thought I had a bad groin sprain, or strain. So looking up on ChatGPT, like I'm like, fuck, I have grade fucking 17 groin strain or some shit. And finally got an MRI. 2 weeks go by. I'm like, this motherfucker's not getting any better. So now we're 8 weeks out from the fight. I get a MRI, go to the doctor. He said it's torn. You need surgery. I said, so if I go through the fight and it tears worse, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? He said it's just gonna be painful. We're gonna fix it after the fight, regardless. So it doesn't matter how much worse it gets, because
Gotcha.
it's not gonna. You still can fight. Like I'm just dealing with pain. So I was like, I can deal with pain for whatever. You know, didn't have a terrible camp. Wasn't able to do what I've been able to do this camp.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to grapple like this session we had just now. I didn't have like any of those last camp. I wasn't able to grapple
Yeah,
like I wanted to.
gotcha.
Like if someone was in my guard and I put a butterfly in, like it was painful, very painful. So last camp wasn't ideal. Still, got some good work in. Overall, in my mind, I was gonna go out there and knock Merab out.
Yep.
I was confident, went into the fight. Don't regret anything. It is what it is. It was weird having surgery scheduled a few days after a fight,
Yep.
like pre not getting an injury and then getting surgery after, but being like, okay, I'm going into this fight and then getting surgery after. That was a weird little mental thing. But yeah, still confident. Went into that fight, walked into the cage like I was gonna knock this motherfucker out.
Yep.
The fight played out the way it played out, and didn't knock him out.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing I found fascinating, is that you're like, I'm actually grappling this camp. To the previous camp, you was like, I didn't do any grappling. I'm like, you fucking out of your mind. But now it makes sense because your labrum was torn and you weren't able to do any grappling.
Yeah, it's not ideal going in. It's not ideal going in there against Merab. I mean, like, he's probably considered one of the best bantamweights of all time right now. His resume, like, fucking, it's giving me reminiscent of when I fought Aljo, who was at the time considered the greatest bantamweight of all time.
Yep.
And I walked into that cage, had a rib injury. It's like it sucks. There's always an excuse for going into a fight, but it's like that's the fight game.
Exactly. A lot of the fans don't realize. Like, I remember when I was fighting WC, Antonio Benuelos, he had a broken hand, and as you know, when you go into fight week, they're like, the doctor checks you out, and he goes, anything hurt? You're like, nope. But in reality, he had a broken hand. He goes, I'm about to get fucking this surgery covered because there was no insurance. But that's just the nature of the beast of a grueling training camp, right? Because you got to cover the wrestling, you got to cover the jiu-jitsu, you got to cover the boxing, you got to cover the Muay Thai. And if you skip on any one of those, or you get injured in any one of those, and it's like, great, now you have to go in a fight injured, because that's how you make your money.
Yeah, it's fucking, fighting's wild. It's a wild sport, and it's like pulling out just does not sound. It's like it doesn't. For me to pull out of a fight would have to be like can barely walk to the cage. Like I don't like the idea of pulling out of a fight. So I was like, there's just no way I'm pulling out of the fight for either one, the Aljo one or the Merab one. But yeah, I'm getting it's like I'm counted out heavily this fight, which was the same as the Aljo fight. And I'd rather be in this position than in the position like, oh, you're gonna kill this guy, you're gonna smoke this dude. That would suck. I hate that. Because it's a fight and it's so fighting's so unpredictable and anything can happen. So I think Merab has way more pressure on him because everyone's like, oh, you beat him 9 months ago. How is he supposed to beat you now? I could beat that motherfucker, and I know I can. And it's like I put in the work and I have the self-belief, I have the skill set, I know I can beat Merab, I know I will beat Merab, and it's like I get to go and prove that to the world. It's just like I remember the Aljo fight. Dana after the fight asked everybody that was in the interview room who actually thought Sean was gonna win. There was one guy from Montana, one of the interviewer or journalists, that said that he thought so. But so I'm getting it's gonna be like that.
What's up, guys? Me and Demetrious Johnson are actually going to have a podcast or a show, because we don't want to call it a podcast, together, and it's going to be a monthly recap of the pay-per-views. It's going to be called the Mighty Guru Show, or the Pig and the Mouse, if you could go by that as well if you want. So yeah, go and check out the trailer for that. We put a lot of effort into it, so watch it and then watch the podcast, you fucks. Is that better than your stumbling through?
Hey, take a look at the trailer right here.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Do that.
He's out cold badly.
John Jones' defense out of Demetrious Johnson there at the end. I am a piece of shit, but my content's really good. Try and look beyond how terrible of a person I am.
He's done it to me my whole career. Well, not blasting in the face, but understanding, like, lining up your knee. Here comes the cage. Like,
The Mighty Guru Show.
what's going on, guys? This episode of the MIGHTYCAST is sponsored by MUDWTR. This is the MUDWTR matcha, and it has matcha chai, lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, reishi, cinnamon, turmeric, and Himalayan salt, all natural ingredients. And here you see my wife preparing my MUDWTR matcha. Like I said before, I like to use almond milk, blended it in a whisk with some water, poured in on ice. I prefer mine iced. This only has 30 to 40 milligrams of caffeine, so there's no jitters, there's no crash, and it tastes absolutely delicious. Now, if you guys want to upgrade your morning ritual with some MUDWTR matcha, all you gotta do is go to mudwtr.com/mighty, and that's gonna help you save 15% on your complete order, and you're gonna get a free frother. If you can't froth, it don't taste the same. So shout out to MUDWTR for sponsoring this episode of MIGHTYCAST. Now let us get back to our guests. Cheers. Well, I think the interesting thing about this matchup going into the second one is I always refer back to the first fight, and there was a part I've come to enjoy listening to the cornermen, right? And I'll never forget when Tim sat you down and he goes, "Hey, we're almost done.
Dig deep, buddy. We're almost done with this. Dig deep.
It's gonna be all right." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" I was like, why did he say that, you think?
I think he was telling me, hey, there's 5 minutes left. Like, there's only 5 minutes. We're almost done. Like tough it up. Whatever you're going through, we're almost done. Like, there's 5 minutes left.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he got a lot of shit for that. I guess. But I mean, for even the Peter Yan fight, hey, throw the right hand, feint the right hand, throw the knee up the middle, boom, cuts him. Going into the second round, hey, feint low, throw the left hand, boom, rocked Peter. Tim's done such a good job in the corner, and that one I think just got interpreted. Hey, we're almost done, 5 minutes.
Was almost like something was wrong, you're injured, you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of took it like maybe something like Sean went into injured and he was like, "Hey man, we're almost done." I I can tell you were battling, you're fighting through it.
Yeah.
Like I never forget when I went to go fight Adriano the first time, Matt was not happy about how the training camp went because of COVID-19. And he goes, you're gonna have to fight your way through this. And I ended up getting knocked out. He goes, I wasn't happy about it, but I felt that's what Tim was like, hey, like you're battling this, you're trying to fight through whatever's going on. We're almost done, bro.
Yeah.
So
I mean, hey, people got him shit for that, but then in the 5th round, I almost went and finished him.
Exactly.
So it's like, maybe that helped me almost finish him. So, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, being in the corner, it's funny. Like I enjoy listening to the corner work too. A lot of times you hear panic. The coaches are just like, okay, keep your hands, the right hand, like just trying to say something to say something.
Yep.
I don't know if they know. It's like the camera's right there too, so they're trying to sound smart, but they don't really know what to say. It's like,
my favorite is Leon Edwards' corner. You gotta get your head out of it, but that's what helps him. And then you saw one time when he fought, it was just totally calm and chill.
Yeah.
And that's like my favorite thing is like listening to the corner man to see how the interaction is between the athlete and the coach.
Yeah.
Like is there a mutual, or are they fighting each other, or are they on the same page or on different pages? So that was one of the things that really piqued my interest. Like I'm gonna ask Sean about that.
I don't want to be yelled at. Like the first 30, 40 seconds, I'm closing my eyes, catching my breath, getting my heart rate down. Like whatever you're saying, I might hear it, but I'm focused on getting my breath down. Like that's more important than you telling me corner advice right now is me getting my heart rate as low as possible and recovering as much as I can in a minute. So like that's what my focus is on.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm excited for this next fight because I feel like you said this time, like the first thing I noticed when I came to the academy, I said, oh, you look strong.
Yeah.
You got some muscle on you. Yeah. Right? Where before, I'm not saying, you said it before, you're kind of, leaner. Yeah. But this time, I'm like, okay, he's actually strong. Your core looks strong. So it looks like you're more prepared this time than you were the last time.
100%. I mean, I got surgery October right after the fight. And then like the first 8 weeks, all we did was lift. Like upper body stuff. I couldn't do too much physical therapy with my legs, but we just lifted since basically surgery. Like I've been able to lift consistently. That last fight I wasn't able to do much with my hip. Like I could have lifted more upper body, but we definitely didn't. But yeah, I've been actually lifting a lot more. But really you get that grappling strength from grappling. Like it doesn't matter how much fucking weight you're throwing around in the gym, but I've been able to grapple a lot more and I feel way more like strong in grappling positions.
That's what's up. Yeah, I love how it translates. Lifting weights it keeps your body strong, but actually grabbing somebody and moving them, and it's just, that's like my favorite thing to do. That's why I do more gi grappling besides no gi, because you grab the gi.
Your forearms light up.
Last night, oh my God, I was like, everybody was like, slap hands. I was like, I can't lift.
Just looking like a Fruit Loop.
Yeah, it's so, I love the grapple.
I do like the gi. I don't have, it's hard to fit extra schedule, but I do enjoy the gi, and it's like it's almost a different sport. Like it's still jiu-jitsu, it's still the same concept, but it's like there's just extra the grips, and just it changes it so much. But I do, once I'm done with fighting, want to really dive into the gi like you have. It's so fun.
Well, you've done some jiu-jitsu competitions too. Like you submitted Takanori Gomi. Yeah. You've done a lot of no-gi stuff. So I would love to see you go transition to the gi as well, because I think it's something you can do, not get any brain damage. Yeah. Not that you have. Like you've never been, you may rocked once, twice, if that.
Yeah. Peter cracked me. He countered me a few times.
But other than that, you haven't been like, you haven't, comatose.
Yeah.
You haven't been knocked out completely, where it's like, hopefully he wakes up.
That's scary, dude. I definitely think about that. That shit's scary. Like,
it's not bad. You wake up. Don't worry about it. You wake up afterwards. You don't even feel anything. It's actually, you're just like, what happened? What happened?
Yeah. But too many of them. Too many of those get scary.
Yes, it does. Okay, I want to ask you a question. So right now, when you look at the landscape of mixed martial arts, do you feel that mixed martial arts is in recession? I know you're not really on social media. Like you totally changed your mindset. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this. A lot of people say that there's a recession going on right now in mixed martial arts, meaning that, there's an organization, UFC's thriving, everybody's making money. The organization's killing it, where the fighter pay is still where it is, right? And I always tell people, like, there's two sides of the coin, where in America, people are like, oh, we're in a recession. And I'm like, no, we're not, man. We're good. The ad revenue on YouTube's doing good. Sponsors are coming through. Then on the other side of the coin, people are like, man, it's hard to keep a job. I feel like it's the same thing in mixed martial arts. You've been at the beginning of it where you're making probably what 10 to 10 from the Dynamite Contender Series. You blew, you grinded so well, and now you're making millions of dollars. You got your Sugar brand. Like, how do you feel about the landscape right now in mixed martial arts? Do you feel like we're in a recession, or do you feel it's case by case, or do you think like, you know what, my mindset's that, you have to grind and build your name to a point where you can start making money? Because there's an athlete, I didn't know the athlete's name, but he just retired, and he says, I refuse to fight for pennies. And he goes, there's just nowhere to go fight. He goes, nobody's paying like the UFC, PFL's not paying. He was just like, I'm done, because there's just nowhere for me to go.
Yeah, I think like you got to bring value to the promotion. Like people complain like, oh, I'm only getting paid 10 and 10. But it's like in reality, it's like, who's there to see you fight? Your mom, your dad, your sister, a couple buddies. Like no one really is gonna pay like watch you on TV. It's like you got to build your name up to bring value to the UFC, to whatever promotion you're in. So it's hard. It's tricky because it's such a dangerous thing to go do and make money. Depends how you look at it. It's like if you're making $50,000, which isn't like a ton of money, but it's also like you're doing what you do. You love to do, and you chose to do this. If you don't want to make $50,000 a fight, go work at Target. Like you're not. No one's forcing you to fight. Like you don't have to fight. Like I looked at it as like I'm getting to. I don't have to work 9 to 5, and I'm gonna. I started out 10 and 10. I was lucky enough to have, Snoop Dogg blow up when I knocked out Alfred Kashakian, and I had, some sweet knockouts, so I had some steam. I was able to go from 10 and 10 to 20 and 20. Like I was able to progress pretty fast, but I also there was times where I'm like, I feel like I should be making more, but I'm not going to make an issue about it because that's not going to help anybody. I'm going to go out there and knock this next dude out. And then I will ask the UFC for more money. So it's like I asked after Eddie Wineland, I was comfortable enough to go to UFC and be like, hey, like, is there any way I can make more money? Like, with that performance, hell yeah. Next fight, Cheeto Vera, get stopped. I didn't go back to the UFC and say, hey, can I make more money? I was like, all right, fuck, I need to go put on a performance. Fight Thomas Almeida, put on a beautiful performance, knock him out 42 times, basically.
Papa.
So, go back to UFC. Hey, is there any way I can make some more, money? I really want to, continue make, progress in pay. And like, that was a fucking beautiful performance. So, I was able to, I feel like I understood that you have to bring value to the UFC. You have to, and building your own social media up definitely helps. Like I feel like I just understood that. And, it's not that hard to understand, but I understood it early enough to like, okay, I'm going to build myself as a brand. And I think that will help me make more money, outside the UFC and inside the UFC. So as far as in a recession, I don't know. I'm so laser focused, tunnel vision on myself. Like I don't even take much thought into other people's situations right now. I'm just like, I fucking got Merab on my mind.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MIGHTYCAST is sponsored by VIIA Hemp. Now, VIIA Hemp is a high premium hemp company that have many, many products from CBD gummies and even CBD gummies with THC, and it even has flour. Now, if you're trying to enjoy a good night, you want to have a good laughter watching a movie with the kids, sometimes I like to pop one of these bad boys and just have an elevated experience when I'm watching the movie. And if you guys want to see if VIIA Hemp is something that you might be interested in, check the link in the description below or go to viiahemp.com/mighty, and that's going to help you save on your complete order. And like I said, they have different products. We have the Flow State here, which has 20 milligrams of CBD, 60 milligrams of CBG, B12, alpha, GPC, and lion's mane, which this one doesn't have any THC, so there's no psychedelic, effect going on there. So once again, go to viiahemp.com/mighty. It's going to help you save on your complete order. Shout out to VIIA Hemp for sponsoring this episode of the MIGHTYCAST. Now, let us enjoy the talk with Sugar Sean O'Malley. Yeah, it's funny because, me and Michael, we always talk about this, and I tell him that, like you said, if you were to work 9 to 5 at Target, as you said, you make a minimum wage, you might make $30,000, maybe $35,000, $40,000 a year. But if it's like, hey, if I can, train my ass off and I beat this guy up, I'm gonna make 20 and 20. I get to travel the world and all that stuff. We get in a mindset where it's like, hey, this is great money.
Yeah.
This is great money. And then when you look at it, you compare it to like NBA, NFL, and all that stuff. It's like, no, it's not. Like you guys are getting like pennies on the dollar compared to like what the organization, and it's not just UFC, it's other organization as well, because the gentleman, he said it's not just UFC, it's PFL, and it's all organizations around the world. And I always had to get the mindset of another athlete where you started from the bottom and now you're at the very top, and you built your brand around that. Now, what made you see that was the right way to do it? Right? Because a lot of people, I even struggled. Like, I didn't start building my brand until, I was streaming on Twitch.
Yeah.
But then there came a point in time and I was like, okay, like, I'm not selling pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about the flyweights. And I remember Matt was saying, all you gotta do is keep on winning, keep on winning, keep on winning. But I would never get more money. But then once I started building my brand and once I left the sport, that's when I started to blow up more. And I think social media got to a point like in 2020 was like when it just took off because COVID-19.
Yeah.
And then my brand was, massive, and then the YouTube had helped. But for you, you seem to figure that out at the very early stage of your career, like the Sugar brand. Like, I'm sure you're killing it right now with endorsement, merch.
Yeah.
What was it that you realized, like, okay, this is how I'm going to make a shitload of money outside of fighting?
Yeah, but before I answer that, I'll say too, because I thought about the NFL, NBA, baseball, all that for a long time. Like, why do they get so much money compared to fighters? And then you think about, it's like, okay, a series of 7 games. Think about that. How many times they're selling out that stadium?
Oh, yeah.
How much merch is being sold? How much revenue is being generated for just a game, like 7-game series, compared to like UFC, 12 pay-per-views a year, whatever it is. Yep. Like, they're doing pay-per-view fucking stadiums, or like sold out stadiums,
And that's one stadium here.
Yeah.
You have LA, you have New York,
it's
you have
everywhere.
Boston, everywhere.
Yeah, so they're doing like the money generated from those sports is probably way more than what the UFC's making. So and that helped me make feel better. It's like, okay, I'm making this many millions, but this NFL guy's making 35 million. It's like you can't compare yourself to other people. But then it's like, fuck, what I do is so it's like, it's just as intense. I work just as hard, but it's like the UFC's not probably making as much. The UFC's not making as much money as the NFL.
Yeah, no.
Like, so it's just like it makes sense. It is what it is. But then to answer your second question, which was,
what made you think about like, this is the route I need to go. Like, I need to build, because obviously I always tell people back in the day, there was a point in time where you had Rich Franklin, Matt Hughes, GSP, Chuck Liddell, Tim Sylvia. You saw those guys walking on the street. You'd be like, there's Rich Franklin. Oh, there's Tim Sylvia. There's Chuck Liddell. Now, when I walk on the street, they say, hey, Minnie Mouse. Minnie Mouse. Or oh, Mighty Mouse, hey, what's going on? Or sometimes they're like, hey, you're a UFC fighter. Yeah. They label me as that's the brand, right? Where now I tell me and Michael have this discussion. I was like, there's no point for the UFC to build the stars, because if they build the stars, then you're building that person's brand. Whereas if we just build the brand of UFC, everybody's gonna label you UFC fighter, UFC fighter, UFC fighter. But for you, when they see you, they don't say, hey, that's UFC fighter. I'm like, that's Sugar. Look at the hair, look at the swag, look at the pink Ferrari. You have been able to make yourself your own brand. Right? You have your own platform.
Yeah.
You know
I mean, even when I was 16 years old and I first started kickboxing, like, I would sell, get $5 a ticket. So I was hustling. I wanted to be rich when I was young. I don't know what it was, but I wanted to make a lot of money. Like, it wasn't even I felt like I had a knowing I was going to. I was going to do something to where I was going to make a lot of money. I was 16 years old, have a kickboxing fight, trying to sell tickets, get $5 a ticket. So, I sell this many tickets, I get this much money. Oh, I can sell merch. Okay, so I buy this much merch, so I can, turn a profit and sell merch. So from 16, when I started fighting at 16, 17, 18 years old, I was selling merch and I was selling tickets. And like that led to me, I was just like looking for ways to make money. I would have, my dad would help me write up a thing, and a sponsorship thing, take it to local businesses, say, hey, do you guys want to sponsor me, blah, blah, blah. So I was doing that when I was 16, 17, 18 years old. And, that kind of just translated into, Tim actually is the one that told me to get an Instagram when I moved down here. I think I was 18 or 19. He's like, hey, you got to get an Instagram. So I got an Instagram, and I don't know what it was that made me think of, I guess I always wanted to be different anyway. And I was like, okay, you know, I actually 6'9" was the hair inspiration of the rainbow hair, like because he was just a character. He was such a character. He was captivating. I was like, it's just like his hair was like, I don't know what it was, but I'm like, if I do my hair, people are gonna freak out. Like the first time I did my hair was the Eddie Wineland fight, and I go out there and like the hair plus that knockout, that kind of a knockout plus hair was just like a recipe for success. And like the UFC loved the hair, like everyone in the whole UFC was like, oh my god, everyone's talking about your hair, just my hair. I came in and like I had to do so many extra photos and so much extra media just because I did my hair. I was like, oh, I'm onto something. So like every single fight was like a new hair, and so like, so that helped a lot. But it always comes down to the performances. I feel like that people want to see people get knocked out. Before I was in the UFC, I had a beautiful spinning heel kick knockout over Days of Nuzo. Like that was fucking huge. Alfred Kashakian on the Contender Series, that was a brutal knockout. Eddie Wineland, Thomas Almeida, the Chris Paiva or the Chris Montino fight wasn't necessarily a knockout, it was a stoppage, but it was just like fucking piecing him up. So yeah, I think it was, I wanted to make a lot of money, and I knew that I could make a lot of money outside the UFC. I still think, I mean, I still make, I don't know how exactly, but probably about the same amount of money outside the UFC as I do inside the UFC right now.
Fucking crazy. That's crazy.
It is. It's wild to think about, like even saying it out loud.
But I will say it's amazing though, right? Because if you're at a point now, like you don't have to fight 2 or 3 times a year, right? You can be like, hey, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna put in an 8-10 week training camp, my heart and soul. Go out there, put on the best performance in my career. Then I'm gonna focus on grinding. I don't need that extra check. I think that's where every athlete's dream is, where they want to be, right? Like for me, how I always, try to one up myself, not one up. I strive for the next goal is like, my goal is like, can I make enough money from YouTube than I did when fighting, right? And so it's like, oh, I made this much more. I don't need to fight. But for you to still be at the prime of your career at 30 years old, world champion, and you're like, I'm making more money outside the octagon. I don't need to step back in here, but I know
the reason I'm making that much money is because of the UFC. Like the UFC platform has, like, I wouldn't have this following without the UFC. So it was very mutual. Like I've done a lot for the UFC. They don't need me. At this point, I could probably be done fighting, live fine, whatever. So I don't want to say I need the UFC, but for me to get to where I want to go, I need the UFC. Like I need the UFC. UFC does not need me. I could quit tomorrow, and they have stars in the making. They have stars coming up. They have they don't need me at all. So I'm very, very grateful for the UFC, and I wouldn't make the amount of money outside the UFC on social medias if I didn't have that backing and that platform, and them. They're the best promoters in the world. So for me to be associated with the best promoters in the world, and I have a fight coming up and they're promoting me, like they're doing me a huge favor, and they're giving me a huge, massive platform for me to get my name out there. And I feel like I've capitalized well on that.
Like I said, I always have to hear both sides of the coin, right? You hear a guy goes, man, I fucking hate it. They don't promote me, da 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 da. Then you hear yours like, I put myself in a position where I can maximize their platform by the performances, right? And that's what I thought too when I read the guy, and I was like, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. Like, how much money he actually, how much revenue did he bring to the company? Right? Well, your skits are amazing, right? We haven't seen any many skits this time. What's that all about?
Just haven't had the desire.
Should I follow you? My favorite skits.
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about my followings.
Well, I just love your skits. I think you and Rob have great skits. Your skits where you're pop, 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 and Tim's on the back of the the fucking moped. It's like, it just keeps magnifying your brand, right? It shows a different side, because the only time we usually see you is when you step in a cage, you knock somebody out, colorful hair, you're gone. But then if you follow you on Instagram, YouTube, you see a different side. Will we see more skits after this fight, or you're like, you jumped off social media, you don't smoke weed anymore, you don't drink alcohol. What came of that? Like, what was it like? You're like, I'm fucking done. I'm not going to drink anymore. What was the change and shift in your life where you're like, I don't need to do this stuff anymore?
I don't know. I feel like I never had like anxiety to where I felt like it was an issue. Like I have anxiety. There's just a little bit of like this underlying kind of like, you know, you're driving home, listening to music, you kind of just have a little, you should just be like, my life is so, I have everything I need that I should be able to be peaceful whenever I want. But it's like, I feel like social media is a distraction to just life in general. But I think especially when you have a huge following and you're almost trying to keep up with that, and it's like you get almost attached to Suga, who that's Suga Sean, like that's, you know, millions of followers. That's who I opened that up, and I just, whoa, you feel it. So I just felt like it was a little bit of a distraction. It was a little bit of like an anxiety creator. Alcohol. I mean, I'm not done smoking, done drinking.
Of course.
In my mind, I guess I am right now. I don't really have any desire to. Like, I don't have any desire to go like, oh, I need a drink or I need to smoke, or I don't know. I just feel like there's no reason I didn't have more peace in my life when I have everything: a healthy family, good friends, good community, doing what I love to do. You know, everyone's around me is health. Like, I don't have any reason I shouldn't be able to just be like find peace. Like that's peace is like having fun, like excitement. Like you go to a club, like that's fun as fuck with the fellas, but it's like the pendulum swings. You're having up there, you come down. Like if you can just kind of have peace and find peace, that's the goal. So I feel like just me getting off social media was kind of like me seeking more peace throughout my life, and it's been life changing. Like I really do feel like being off of that has changed my life in a better way, as far as just like not feeling like I'm so connected with the world, and like seeing everyone's issues and seeing what's going on with like I'll still watch YouTube. I definitely still, I love YouTube. I can't say I'm off YouTube. It's a little different.
Yes, you can be. You jump on Twitter, you see what's going on here. You know, Michael might send me something. I'm like, I don't like using Twitter because Twitter's just like a very negative platform. But I agree with you. Like you jump on YouTube, it's like, what do I want to watch today? It's more of a television.
Yeah, right? And I was so like addicted to Snapchat, because I found once I got into the Snapchat program to where you could make money on Snapchat, I was making so much money. I was on it all fucking day. I was posting 50, 60 snaps a day, just like on it, like talking to the community. And I think that's why my Snapchat blew up as big as it is now, is because I was so like direct
engaging
with it. And I was like, holy shit, like there's nothing I do that's not like, I go outside and read, boom, Snap. I go outside and write, I'm outside with my daughter, I'm fucking about to hit the gym. Like now I have Blake, my assistant, he just does all that for me. I don't even have to get on I don't get on Snapchat, Instagram, I don't get on any social media. And at first it was, but I was so like addicted to it because I was making so much money off it. I mean, I'm still making the money, and it's like, but I don't have to be the one doing it. So I feel like I was able to, I wouldn't have got to where I'm at right now without that amount of effort put into social media. I feel like I put in that much effort, and to where I can step back and have Garrett and Blake run my social medias. I definitely still enjoy making content, like making YouTube videos and stuff. It's just like I don't have the desire to surf YouTube or surf Instagram or Snapchat or fucking Twitter. It's just like that. Not having that, like, dude, I would drive home and just be like, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm literally surfing Instagram while I'm driving. Like, it's so wild how addicting that is, and to be able to like get on the other side of that, it's like, I see people like just surfing Instagram, and it's like, I feel like if I was just looking to like, I feel like you look like from an outside perspective, you look like you're not even really looking at shit. You're just
doom scrolling. That's what they call it now.
It's like
doom
you
scrolling.
look stupid, and like I felt stupid when I would catch myself. Like, what am I doing? So it's like I just feel like I've benefited a lot from limiting distractions in my life, and I didn't do that because I didn't have a good training camp last fight. Like, this is how I'm gonna beat Merab. I'm gonna get off that stuff. It was like all these decisions were just not even based like performance based. Like I don't think my last training camp was affected because I was on social media or I smoked or I don't think any of that. Like, I think getting off all of that will probably affect my performance in a positive way, but it wasn't being like, I gotta get fucking beat Merab now, so I'm gonna not do all this stuff. It's like I chose to do all that stuff for more inner peace.
It's funny you say inner peace, because my wife says she's 38, she's turned 38, she goes, I am at peace. Right, like I'm, I love the doom scrolling as well, and I tell myself, I was like, man, I cannot wait so I don't have to do it as much anymore, right? Because it's pretty much my business, right?
Part of work,
right?
I get that 100%.
It's hard work, and you have to be involved in it. But I never forget what Dave Chappelle said: and one of his friends came to him and goes, man, you see what they said about you on Twitter? He goes, you act like that's a real fucking place. It's not a place. It doesn't exist unless you click the bird, click Instagram.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be part of that world. And my best friend, he has no social media or nothing. And he went to get his hair braided the other day, and he goes, dude, I felt like I was living in a different fucking dimension. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, they were talking about all the stuff that's going on online. And I was like, the only thing that matters in my life is what's in these 4 fucking walls and above my roof. And I love to hear that you're saying that at a very young age of 30, where you ask, another 30-year-old, no, man, it's all about social media. You got to be on there. You got to do this. No, shout out to you for having that inner peace, finding it at 30, where, I found it at 30. Well, I'll be 39 this year. My wife's found it at 38. I found it at 38. Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, I feel right now I don't have any desire to, but I feel like someday, maybe after the fight, it's like, let's just look at it. Let's just check it out. I'm like, that's that little fucking devil on your shoulder telling you, hey, let's just 5 minutes. Reply to a little couple tweets. Cause I love, like, I know leading up to this fight, like I'm assuming I'm a massive underdog, and I don't think there's probably going to be very many people that think I'm going to go out there and win. Yeah. And, after fights, I like to tweet at like LOL or something at like,
of course. The interesting thing, like like I said, I don't surf Twitter at all, but there's not, I don't think people are saying that. I think people are excited for this matchup between you and Merab. There is people like, oh, he's gonna maul him. I think they're excited to see, Merab fought Umar. That was a great fight. And then, the first time when you guys fought, like he was able just to manhandle you, take you down because of the hip injury. You didn't get much time to grapple. But I think now, you're still probably the biggest star in that division. Right. And I think people want to see you return, because at one point in time, you were fighting. I mean, you look at your posters, you have March 9th, August 19th. You were fighting. All the fucking time. I think people are excited to see you get back in action and then you're taking on a formidable Merab. And that's what I think is more of the buzz. Not people like, oh, he's not gonna win. Oh, blah blah blah. I think they're excited to see you get back in the cage. Yeah,
I mean, I'm so excited to get back in the cage. I want to be active. When I think of me being 40, I'm like, okay, how many more fights can I have in the next however many years? Like, I don't want to look back and be like, God, I wish I would have just tried to, fight a few more times, because I want to give 100% potential. I want to reach my full potential while I can, while I'm this age, while I'm healthy, while I'm in my prime. So I want to stay active. I want to ideally go out there, win the belt, take a few months, and then, get back to work. Like, I want to stay active. And I think people, I feel like I would be, there's exciting matchups. I go out there and beat Merab. It's like there's exciting matchups. There is 2 of Merab wins, like Merab versus Corey. Merab beat Peter 5 rounds. Like there's a few, but I mean, at the end of the day, realistically, it's like my style is more exciting to watch than Merab's. I will say Merab's last fight was fun. I do enjoy his showboating. Like he's made it work for his style, like how boring it like was, and he's kind of made it work. But I just think there's a lot more exciting matchups in the division for me that people could get excited about.
I think either way you look at it, I agree with you, because you do have you versus Alexandre Topuria, that'll be a great fight. Both stand up. Who else she's got signed? Patchy Mix. He's in the division now. He's beaten Kyoto Higuchi. He's beat Sergio Pettis. We're around it. Wants to cross that boy, get on your back. I mean, that division now is becoming one of the hottest divisions under that umbrella. But before it was still hot, but now it's added a little more spice onto it.
Corey Peter,
fucking you versus killers. Corey. That'll be, you guys both moving in angles.
Me versus Peter rematch. I mean, that would be probably one of the biggest fights in UFC bantamweight history. Like the rematch. I mean, I think me versus Cheeto 2 was up there for one of the biggest fights. But the Peter rematch would be massive.
Do you ever get tired of your hair?
Sometimes. I mean, like when it's braided, it's nice because it's kind of like being bald-ish. Like it's it's like it's braid. It's not. I don't deal with it. So I do. Yeah, no, I do. Because most of the time it's like this. Like it's just like when I'm in training camp. Yeah. Like it's fucked all the time. Like but when I have it braided, it's nice because it's just everything's back. I'm gonna deal with it. But yeah.
Do you ever just get it braided during training camps? Like, all the time. Hey, hit me up real
Usually,
quick.
Yeah. She's just been not wanting to, but she can braid me in 40 minutes, an hour at home. Like, but right now she hasn't been wanting to do that, so I haven't. But
why don't you let your hair grow longer?
I mean, it's she ends up trimming it every once in a while once it starts needs to get shaped up or whatever. She's a hairstylist, so she I don't know. I literally. She says, "Hey, put this in your hair. Hey, do this." I was like, "All right, I'll sit on the chair. You do what you do." Yeah.
I think you should grow it out. I think you should get like the length of your
Garrett?
producer, Garrett. You should get it like that long. I want to see it that long.
And fucking color it red too. Me and Tim just fucking redhead brothers.
The ginger duo. Here we go,
Yeah.
boys. Oh man, I freaking love it. I want to ask you a couple questions about. You saw ILIA Topuria relinquish his belt at lightweight, go up to. He relinquished his belt at featherweight. He went up to lightweight, right? And you had Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Did you ever think that was going to happen?
I was just picturing Ilya going up to fight Islam. Like that was kind of the fight I wanted to see. That was a big fight feel for me. Like that was huge. Ilya versus Charles, I feel like's big, not as massive feeling. Jack versus Islam, I think's huge, not as big as Ilya versus Islam would have been. But who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger. So, I think both those guys are number 1 and 1. Both tied, I think, for pound in the world, best in the world.
What do you think about those matchups between ILIA Topuria versus Charles Oliveira, and then you got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev?
I wasn't super familiar with JDM like till that last fight. Like I've seen a couple of his highlights, but I don't follow UFC like that. So I was like, oh damn, they're giving this guy a title shot. Like I wasn't familiar with his
same.
fights.
I'm the same.
And for him to go out there and do what he did against Bilal was very, very impressive. Made that Islam fight more interesting, for sure. I don't know how much bigger JDM is than Islam. I still think Islam's skill for skill is just fucking so high level. But if JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's underrated. He's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA. So I'm excited for that fight. Charles versus Ilya. The way Ilya stalks people down and the way he cracks people, like I could see him landing on Charles. I could see him hurting him bad. But yeah, I mean, you can't count Charles out. The way he marches forward with those knees. Ilya's, 5'5".
I don't know. You tell me. You said anybody under, who's not 5'11" is not a man.
I did not.
Each time you post those things, I'm in the shower. I'm like
in the shower looking at Twitter. No, I think it's gonna be interesting because Charles is a big motherfucker.
Yeah, he is.
And Ilya's like he's thick, but he's not
tall.
No, but he's super thick. So it's gonna be an interesting size discrepancy. But I just think he just finds a way to land on those fucking chins, and Charles gets hit. So
he gets dropped, and then he usually goes to his back, and then I always tell people like Charles, like you said, he gets cracked.
Yeah.
He goes to his back. People, Justin Gaethje, so many people lit him back up, and he gets back in the fight. He ends up catching them.
Yeah.
He falls him, chokes him out. I feel like Ilya drops him, he's gonna go down there, pass his guard, and look to submit him. But that fight, it's funny you say it doesn't give you those jitters. And I'm like, man, I don't know, man.
It does. There's not as much as Islam versus Ilya. The Charles versus Ilya does, because Ilya, what he's done in the last few fights, Charles, what he's done in the last few years. That fight, that's a big fight feel. Just Ilya versus Islam was the fight that was the fight to make. But I think I could see those guys both winning and having even a bigger fight.
Yeah, that's true.
But it would be sick to see Charles take him, choke him somehow.
Oh my god, the
so
fucking
sick.
world would just be like,
oh god.
Because I think a lot of people are counting Charles out.
Yeah,
right? Because you look at his previous fights. Yeah. His last fight where he fought Michael Chandler, he did get hurt in that fight. The first fight, he did get hurt too. So he got hurt in both of his fights.
And Chandler's wild, where Ilya's just fucking...
just clean. Like you said, stalks, gets across that void and starts throwing those big-ass shots, body. He throws punches and bunches. And if he's able to hurt him, but like you said, Charles, if you catch him with that knee...
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm excited, because I told people it's about the storylines now. That's what gets me excited about when I cover this. Like, it's like, okay, Sean O'Malley, he's about to fight again. He's taking on Merab. He lost Merab the first time. He had Merab hurt in the final round.
Yeah.
Okay, if Sean wins, what does he do after that? Yeah. If Sean loses, what does he do after that? He's still there, right? You still have those big matchups. What is going to happen? That's what, like with Ilya, if Ilya beats Charles, okay, does he fight the next 155? Does he fight Armis Sarukian? Does Islam come back down?
Cool.
So that's where I think drives the passion, the motivation, the engagement with the fans for me is a storyline, because you guys are all fucking good. Everybody's good, but it's like the stories what gets me involved is like, okay, I'm a fan. What's gonna happen with this gentleman when this fight happens?
Yeah. Armin versus Ilia would be sick. Fucking Patty's
Patty's
there. Patty versus Ilia is massive, especially
I think 135 and 155, and probably creaming the crop. And then you have 170 right behind there because you have JDM, Joaquin Buckley,
Ian Gary.
You have the young guard coming up. You still have Usman there, who's still he's 37, so he's on his way out, and I think he knows that. And you have a couple guys at 135 who are on their way out as well, where you're part of that new guard. You're still young, but it's the stories that get me excited.
That last two that just beat Gilbert at 170.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. He's undefeated.
Yeah.
Michael Morales,
he's 25, right? 26. So he's young as hell.
Yeah,
stud.
Well, I just feel now that it's always funny. Like I remember when I ran track, and it was like, man, I ran a 4:38 mile, and I'm like, wow, that's fast. And then as time goes on, oh man, I ran a 4:15. I'm like, would you run a 4:15?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I feel the generation of talent is getting better because you have kids, who train at 8 years old, 7 years old, where it's like, I want to do martial arts.
Yeah.
Then they're 21 and they're like, I'm a black belt and everything.
And you can just get on YouTube and look up how the best people in the world are doing certain techniques. Like people are just leveling up so fast. It's insane.
Yeah. I think the landscape of those divisions are like, it's like cinema. Like it's peak where back in the day, it would always fluctuate between, the spotlight would change, but I think now it's on bantamweight, lightweight, and 170. Those are you have heavyweight, you got the whole mess there with, what's going on there. Light heavyweight, you have those guys, but I think those three are the premium divisions right now that get me excited about the stories.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Before I let you go, I always ask every athlete this, retired or in the game, what did you do with your very first check that you got where you're like, oh man, this is a lot of money? And then what did you do with your very last check that you made from fighting?
First check probably was like probably my house, like just putting
the first check you bought a house.
I mean, not the first check, but it went towards the house, like down payment. Like I've always been very aware of money, like how it works, what I need, where's an investment, what's fucking stupid to buy. So I think investing a big portion of my first paycheck was into my first biggish one was when I was. After I fought Terrion Ware, I was making like 20-20 against Andre Sukumta. I made 20-20, made 40,000, got $50,000 bonus.
90K.
Got like the sponsorship for Reebok or whatever it was. I was pushing about 100,000 pre-tax, all that. So
this is like, how many fights was this in?
That was my second UFC fight.
Imagine that, boys. 100K in your second UFC fight.
because of the bonus. But
right. But it's based off your. That's the hardest thing. That
I broke my foot in that fight.
Yeah,
I broke my foot. 3 minutes left, and was hopping around on one foot.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, so I thought that was a $50,000 deserving bonus, but yeah.
100K in your second UFC fight, so you put it towards your house.
Yeah.
Right, and then what'd you do with your last check that you got? Like I guess your last Merab fight. What'd you do with that last check? You can say if you want, you don't have to.
Just stacking up. I'm still working on it like 7 fights ago, spending that money. I'm still trying to spend that one. It is stacking up. No, I've been investing money into businesses I believe in. I've been, I got 5 houses. I'm building.
You have 5 houses?
Yeah, I'm building building an 8,000 square foot mansion right now on my property.
Modern, what's the style of it?
It's a barn-dominium.
Barn-dominium.
Yeah,
okay.
30-foot ceilings when you walk into the living room. Kitchen's insane, beautiful master, everything. Like everything's just like I'm building a dream house. And then there was Tim and Mariah bought their house right by me. There was, a plot of land for $500,000 in between us. And I bought that. I was like, all right, now we're neighbors. We literally walk to each other's houses. So I think I haven't touched the money from the last Merab fight.
Let me ask you a question. This might be me overstepping my boundaries or whatnot, but I always like to ask, what is the difference? Because I'm assuming you got pay-per-view points, right?
Yeah.
What was the difference, you become champion. You know, here's an example. I became champion. It was 350,000. I never got pay-per-view points until when I fought Henry. I think we did like 90,000. No, I think it was like 120,000. It wasn't a lot. We got an actual check for $90,000. But 350, 360, 370, 380 plus pay-per-view plus Reeboks, you get 40K on top of that. Talk to me about the difference of like when you finally get that pay-per-view points and it fucking hits. Like, I never forget when John Jones and DC fought, I think the first time. He goes, I'm trying to fight fucking John Jones every single time. Because that pay-per-view point, we made good money together. He goes, I don't care about number 1, 2, 3, 4, or the fucking belt.
Yeah.
Just me and John Jones fight every single time.
Yeah, pay-per-view is definitely different nowadays because of the streaming services. And like...
what do you mean, though? You still have to pay for pay-per-view, though.
90% of people don't. It's so easy to stream it. You go www. Fucking enter the link. Boom. It's right there. It's so easy.
So
to
you
not.
see. So what I'm hearing is that you've seen a difference from when you were fighting when it was just on DirecTV to where you're fighting on ESPN Plus.
I've only gotten pay-per-view since it's been the ESPN Plus model. My first pay-per-view was with Cheeto.
Yep.
And then
the second fight or the second fight?
Or second fight after Aljo.
Yep.
It did really well. Like I think that was probably the biggest UFC bantamweight fight. So that did really well, and I definitely saw a good size check from that. But even then, it's like that so many people just watch it on the website, on the link. That's just so easy. So the pay-per-view model is dying. I think, especially with them talking about moving to Netflix or moving to somewhere else. I don't know if the pay-per-view model is going to be there as much as it was back in the day. I think, I don't know if anyone doing 1 million buys nowadays is pretty insane. Connor could come back and do it.
Yeah.
Jones versus Tom Aspinall. I don't even know if that does 1 million, just because how easy it is to stream.
Oh, gotcha.
Like that many people will watch. The same amount of people will watch
it, but now it's just, but I mean, that's the hardest thing is like, how can you navigate that and stop people from streaming it? You know what I mean? Like I feel maybe you go to the free pay-per-view model. Like maybe you go to Netflix.
You get
and Netflix
more
like,
eyeballs.
Hey, you get more eyeballs. Like the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. It was massive.
Broke Netflix.
Yeah.
It literally shut it down, right?
Yeah,
like
it did. Yeah. But it's like, how do you? That's a hard, because that's where you guys make the bulk of your money.
Yeah, I think UFC. That's where UFC makes a shit ton of money too. Is like, but if they can do a multi-billion-dollar deal with Netflix, like that'll cover the pay-per-view buys or whatever. I don't know. I have zero idea what the fucking how much they would pay for that. But it'd be interesting move into that model, because I've always, coming up, I was always like, I want to do big pay-per-views. Like that was my mindset. Seeing Connor do that many, seeing Floyd do that many, like when I was 20, 21, 22, before I was getting to where I'm at now, actually doing the main events and like seeing the numbers. I've been obsessed with the numbers. Fight pay, sponsorship, pay-per-view buys. I've been obsessed with that stuff before I was even getting, like, I was so excited to get there. I sit down with UFC. I have direct communication with Hunter. I talk about my numbers. I talk about my deals. I do all my stuff.
So you don't have no manager. It's all you.
I do it all with Emron, who he owns. Yeah. So I do all my stuff with him, and he's a very important mentor to me, and from business, life, just whatever it is he helps me with everything. But so he sits down with me, and but I have all the conversations. Like he briefs me, hey, this is kind of what I think it's gonna go, and I sit down and talk numbers with all my sponsors, all the UFC stuff. So I really enjoy that. But yeah, I think the pay-per-view models is slowly dying.
Yeah. What do you plan on doing after you're done fighting? I feel like you have such a obviously an entrepreneur mindset, and you love numbers. What do you plan on doing after you're done fighting? Like we were talking about, a little bit earlier in the the podcast about, like, if you're not in training camp, you're like, what am I gonna do with myself? What do I do? Like, have you thought about like what it's life going to be like? What does Sean want to do after he's done fighting? Obviously, you're gonna have your children, you're gonna have your wife, right? But like what do you think is gonna keep you motivated to do something?
The kids thing is probably gonna take up majority of the time. Like again, number 2 is on the way. By the time I'm done fighting 8 years from now, number 3, number 4 might be here. I would love to, like Elena does jiu-jitsu. I'd love to, it depends if she's passionate about it, wants to compete in jiu-jitsu, travel, go to jiu-jitsu competitions. She wants to play basketball, soccer, whatever, travel, with the kids for sports. Like I did that as a kid. I went and played traveling basketball, traveling baseball, and like that was great memories for me. So it's something like that, traveling with the kids, doing sports is for sure something that'll take up a lot of my time. But giving back to the gym, the community here, like the young guys up and coming. Like we'll probably have some guys in the UFC. We will for sure have some guys in the UFC by the time I'm retired. I'd like to give back more. Right now, like in camp, especially, is like you're so selfish with your time, selfish with your. Just like I give back when I can. If like there's a position and we're in it, and I'm like talk to someone like, hey, this whatever. But I'd like to be more a part of the team and giving back in a coaching aspect after fighting for sure. I get a lot of joy from helping even right now the little bit that I do. So helping with the gym. Old family man, just being a dad, like that's something I've always wanted to be since I was a young buck. Like I wanted to be a dad, I wanted to have a family, so enjoying that. But yeah, just really being in the gym. I feel like if I can be in the gym, there's always that little devil on your shoulder that's like, I got that. I could be a crazy motherfucker like that. Like I need a for me routine. I gotta stick to a routine. I gotta be very strict in my routine. I can't go off the path even a little bit because that leads down to a path that I've been down, but I've been down. I've had some fun. I've dabbled.
Yeah.
I've dabbled in the superstar lifestyle a bit, and it's like that's a dangerous game.
Now, do you think you're gonna? The last one.
No, you're good.
I don't want to take too much of your time. Do you think you're gonna miss? Right, you lived in that superstar lifestyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there gonna be a point in time like when you finally hang them up and you're like, I think me and the boys, gonna go get the private jet. I'm gonna take the Ferrari. We're gonna go. Do you think you're gonna miss that superstar lifestyle? I mean, granted, you can always jump back into it. Like that's what we want to do, right? Like when we're gonna go to Vegas, okay, I'm gonna put on the AP. I'm gonna wear the chain. The kids are at home.
Yeah,
I'm gonna step out.
Yeah.
Right. But I never miss the lights. I don't never miss like hearing Bruce Buffer or Dom Lau calling my name. It's like I laid that down. Do you think you'll ever be like, I gotta stay, I gotta stay Suga?
I don't know. I feel like I could have learned enough. I think happiness is a skill, and like you can learn how to be happy. And I don't need that. I don't associate that with my happiness. So I feel like I could differentiate the two and be like, okay, I don't need that stuff too. That's not what makes me happy. Yeah. And I'll be able to step away and be done with it. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm just, I think I'll be good.
That's what's up.
I'll be good.
That's what's up. Well, this is your opportunity to let the fans know how they can support you, how they can follow you. Obviously, you got a big fight coming up. I don't think my man Michael's got any questions for you, but we do have some side gloves. We're gonna have you sign these gloves. Okay. We typically do this for our YouTube, and we try to help back your YouTube. I'm gonna sign a pair of gloves. We're both gonna sign these pair of gloves, and you can give it away on your YouTube however you want to.
That'll be pumped. And you got the fire colors too. I like it.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. I was like, you trying to be funny right now, Michael? What's going on here? We'll sign these once we get done. Chat will let you guys know how you guys can win these gloves. Go to Sean's channel to be able to win his.
Fire.
Sean will be able to let you guys know how to do it, and obviously best comment on Spotify, all the good stuff. We'll get you guys the opportunity to win this. But Sean, this is your opportunity to let the fans know how they can follow you, support you, buy your merch. The floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, right now I think just all my social medias I think are all just Suga Sean at this point. Snapchat, X, Instagram, YouTube. Other than that, shit, fucking June 7th, my dad's birthday.
Oh, 60th
birthday.
You got a baby coming, and you also got your dad's birthday.
Dad's birthday, June 7th, same night as the fight. He's gonna be in my corner.
Is he really?
First time I said, shut the fuck up, don't say nothing.
First time in your corner?
Yeah.
Has your girl been in your corner before?
No, hell no.
Oh man.
Nah, she's good at sitting down and breathing and just like and watching. But she's usually at all the fights, but she'll probably be here with the little tiny baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad will be in the corner, and that'll be cool. June 7th. Shock the world again, break the machine, and do what I do.
Boom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it there. Make sure you check out Sean O'Malley's YouTube channel, Twitter, X, YouTube, all the good stuff. And make sure you check out his fight against Merab on June 7th. I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That is our guest, Suga Sean O'Malley. Thank you so much for taking the time. And we will see you guys in the next episode of the MightyCast. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYCAST, and we're about to recap everything we just went through with our guest, and our guest was Sugar Sean O'Malley. First off, what an absolute treat to talk to him and be able to train with them, right? I always love to be able to train with the athletes, especially when I get ready for their fight. The first thing, when I first saw him, I've seen him before in the past. We've hung out, played Fortnite together. We've done actually a lot of stuff together back in the day on Twitch. To see him, I was like, you look strong. Like, you look like you put some muscle on. Looks like you've been grappling this camp, which the previous camp, he didn't grapple because he had that injury with his hip. But to be able to get, we did, I think, 3 rounds today. We hit pads, and he looked good. He felt good. That fucking teep is dangerous. He hit me with it, and I was like, that's your move right there, that fucking teep. The same move that hurt Merab the last fight. And I think looking at this fight between him versus Merab, and I told his assistant, and I basically talked to Tim, and I was like, I think it's going to come down to, can Sean break the machine, or does the machine run over Sean? That's why I think how that fight is going to play out, depending on if Sean wins or loses. But I'm happy to hear that he's in a good headspace about finding inner peace, not being on social media, Twitter, Instagram, all those fucking places where it doesn't exist unless you're on it. But I'm excited to see his fight against Merab.
Yeah, and without giving away too much, how did it feel like when you worked against him? Like, what surprised you, what didn't surprise you? Because I think you always you don't know how someone feels until you actually, when you're working with Umar, when you're working with Islam. So what surprised you or didn't surprise you?
I think what didn't surprise me is that he was going after my neck, because they're, planning to be able to attack Merab, right? So I wasn't surprised with the choke. But he's big. I always forget how big he is. Each time I see him, like I see him on TV, then when I get next to him, I was like, wow, you are fucking big. His movement is good. But I think, what I felt is what I thought. And we only did one part of training, which was grappling. His specialty is his feet, the feints, like how he looks back and bop, bop, bop. That's his specialty. His teep, when I felt that, I was like, okay, that's your move. That's his bread and money to force me to come across the void and do something. Like, if he's not gonna come get me, he'll teep me, which forces me to go after him, or he teeps me to stifle me. But yeah, he felt sugar. He felt sweet.
What about like comparing him and MVP?
It's not even
feel like?
It's not even difference. MVP is way harder because he's faster. But once again, we weren't doing striking, which is Sean's bread and butter. We're grappling.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can't compare the two. And obviously MVP is way bigger, way longer. He's a master of that where Sean typically throws the teeps to force. Sean has more knockouts in the UFC over MVP. But just 2 different workouts and 2 different athletes and 2 different spectrums of length and size.
Yeah, and I think the elephant in the room, which I would have liked you to ask about, but I understand why you didn't. It is surprising from a pure fight standpoint that Sean's getting the rematch.
Yeah.
And I think it's not Sean's fault.
No.
It's where the UFC is right now in its booking. How we're hearing rumors of potentially Yair Rodriguez going against Volkanovski when all he did was beat Pitbull, and
That's
he lost
the
the fight before that. Yeah, there's a rumor.
See, this man be living on Twitter. He gets it. That's like Sean.
No, really. I mean, that it sounds like it's legitimate. So I think that's just the world we're living in, where TKO. There's no mistake, right? TKO owns WWE and UFC, and there's very much a pro wrestling booking going on. So it's not like it's Sean's fault, but I will say I would have loved to see, before this title shot, Sean versus Corey Sandhagen. For me, that's a dream matchup, and you don't always need the title. Like, that would be a great fight for me. I would have loved to see that before the title fight.
But obviously, talking to Sean, he's doing pretty well financially. He's a businessman. He's made great investments. So I think, it's almost like John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. That fight, everybody wants that fight to happen, but the fight doesn't need to happen. John Jones is sitting pretty good financially. Tom, he's looking to fight because he still wants to keep on building his legacy. So I think for Sean fighting Corey, that would be an amazing fight. Sean's going to sell on anything, whatever he does. So, but I also think for TKO, the business standpoint, they're like, who is Merab going to fight next? Like, who could he fight next?
Yeah, he already beat Peter Yan. I mean, I guess they could have done an automatic rematch with Umar, but for whatever reason, not doing that for the time being.
Yeah, or they could have done Corey Sandhagen versus Merab, right? And then give Sean somebody else.
Yeah, but you would have had Corey just fought, so you would have been projecting that Corey won, because at the time Corey was coming off a loss against Umar.
Yeah.
So no, it when you really think of it that way, pretty much the only real options were Peter Yan, who he already beat in a really boring fight, 5-round fight, or doing the rematch with Umar, which that fight was sick. That was one of my.
Oh, it was a great fight.
It was in January, so one of my favorite fights of the year so far. But yeah, it is questionable, but I will say Sean has a star power that not a lot of guys in UFC have. Like you said, they're trying to make UFC the star, not the individuals, and he's found a way to
be able to do it.
Like when the day comes where, if he doesn't want to fight anymore, or even if he did for some reason want to fight somewhere else, or let's say he does the influencer
boxing
thing, he would be extremely successful without any of the promotional power of UFC. So I can see why they would do the matchup, but for me as a fan,
of course,
I have to say I would have much preferred get that Sandhagen fight in there, and then if Sean wins, you're having him earning that title shot back. So that was the only thing that was a little bit amiss with me, but UFC's a business. There's nothing you can do out of it. It's not going to be. It's not a tournament where there's a point system.
Exactly. Well, I think the biggest thing too. We always talk about this off camera, off the record, about there's no stars, there's nobody coming up. And I was like, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because UFC wants, it could be a bad thing, it couldn't, but for UFC, the brand is so fucking massive that they don't need, even Sean said, he goes, the UFC doesn't need me. They'll just, have another fighter fight, pay them, and build that person up or make money off them. And I think it's very intelligent that he thinks that in his mind, because when an athlete is like, oh man, like the UFC needs me, they need me, you become reliant on that. You're going to fill the shoes that they want you to fill, essentially, where he's like, I know they don't need me, and I don't need them at a certain point, but I am going to capitalize on, that massive platform they have by going out there, knocking out somebody. It's good for the brand. It's good for his sponsors. And, at some point in time, everybody wins, essentially. But I'm excited to see that fight. It's kind of crazy to think that labrum that he had torn, hindered his training camp. Toward this camp, he got the surgery. I hear all the time athletes and doctors say, do not get that labrum surgery, because the hips never are the same. And he said he feels great. He felt great, when I was trying to, pass his guard and grapple. It'll be kind of interesting to see how he approaches this fight against Merab now that he's had a camp of grappling.
Yeah, and I think some people will watch this and be like, oh, there's excuses, but he's making no excuse about it. He accept every fighter. When have you ever entered a fight where you were 100%? It's
rare.
It's very rare. So he knows that's part of the game, and he accepted the fight. So I think it's, cross my fingers that both these guys it seems hopefully Merab doesn't get some cut that he posts on social media.
He was still fucking fight.
No, he'd fight, but I'm saying hopefully he doesn't reveal it on social media. And then Dana just gets mad at him for posting getting stitches a week before the fight. But no, I love, and I also love that Sean just is so zoned in that he's not doing the Tim and Suga show. He's not doing. He is doing some YouTube content, but not posting near the frequency that we are.
Well, he's locked in.
No, exactly. No social media. You didn't ask him about it, but I don't want to say it on camera.
But the Ryan Clark and RG3, the tall glass of milk.
No. I'm saying he said, no jerking off. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, he was at. Yeah, I wish you asked about that actually.
Oh, he's not jacking off? He doesn't need to. He has a girlfriend. I mean, you got to get a girl. It's like, hey,
true. The girl,
can I hit it from behind real quick, babe?
His girl's pregnant, so he's clearly been at it.
Exactly.
At least in the last 9 months. So.
Sometimes that's the best, sex you can get, man. It's just, it's great. When your wife's pregnant, you'll find out, boys. You'll find out when your wife gets pregnant. You start hitting that. It's
no need.
It's great. 9 months.
That's the commitment. No jacking off. No social media.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, once again, I think social media is in a place now where you don't like. For me, I always tell myself like I'm not gonna jump on it. Like I don't need to jump on it. Like there's just no point. There's nothing that's on there that's important. That's not more important. That's around me and my four walls and my roof. That's one of the things that I love about when I'm with the kids or I'm playing video games. Like
saying you don't love all the death sentence Instagram posts. That
no, I do. I do, but I don't need them.
My algorithm is just full of death sentences.
I am death sentence. I mean, there's a point in time for it, but like I can understand with Sean. And my best friend, Akaika, he's like, he has no social media or Instagram or Twitter, and I envy him because he doesn't have to, why do I care if Dana White's promoting fucking, boxing? I don't give two fucking shits, right? Like, why do I care if, RG3 and Ryan Clark are talking about a fucking tall glass of milk and Caitlin Clark, and I don't fucking care, right? I just don't. So I envy Sean. He can remove himself from that. And I look forward to the day where I can do the exact same thing. Just like the Outdoor Boys, he had 14.9 million subscribers on YouTube. He was like, I'm done. Like, I think there's so much power behind that. It's almost like when I stopped fighting, I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to fight anymore. And I just walked away from the sport, even though I can still move with one of the best in the world. Like, I think there's a lot of power behind that. So
yeah, and also just a reminder, we got the signed gloves right here.
Demetrious Johnson and Sugar Sean O'Malley
right here. Hopefully this camera's in focus.
Yes.
And so just we'll put the giveaway. We've done a good amount of these, so I think you guys know the drill by now. But some nice signed by two UFC champions, and so we got. One of them will give away on Sean's channel as well.
Yes.
So, yeah, we got 3 gloves, 3 winners.
Did he sign that one? Yeah, he did sign that one. Yeah, make sure you guys go follow Sean O'Malley's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Obviously, like Michael said, his producer will let you guys know how you guys can win these gloves. Maybe they might save him for one. Maybe it could be the collab we just did for Sean's channel. And like Michael said, we'll let you guys know how you guys can win these gloves. Usually it's a Spotify comment or YouTube comment, since we have 2, maybe one for Spotify, one for YouTube, and then we'll let the best comment win.
Just look at the YouTube community post. We'll post the details. And
you cocksuckers trying to fucking, rob us, think twice. Michael's on to you guys.
We had a guy, the first glove giveaway, I just get an email, hey, I'm the winner, and then I have him verify it, and it's like silence.
Just silent with ghosting. So we're on to you, motherfuckers. We're not just, this is our first day, all right? All right, boys. Well, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast and the MightyRecap, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. We're always on the grind, and we always read the comments to see what you guys want to see next. This was absolutely amazing to be able to train with Sean O'Malley and be able to do a MightyCast with him. So I am your host, Demetrious Johnson. That's my right-hand man, Michael Wansover. Nick Pappas, our Italian producer, is out of the camera. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast.